All right, folks, big day in the Bay. Warriors general manager Mike Dunleavy Jr. just wrapped up a major press conference that touched on just about everything. Heading into one of the most pivotal off-seasons in recent team history, we're talking contract decisions, draft strategies, trade possibilities, free agency priorities, you name it. He addressed it, and yeah, he spoke for about 10 minutes. But there was a ton packed into those 10 minutes. So buckle up, because we're breaking it all down right now. Let's start with what everybody's talking about, Jonathan Cuminga. That's the biggest storyline of the offseason for the Warriors. No doubt, and Dunleavy didn't shy away when asked point blank about what's happening with Cuminga's contract situation. The message was pretty clear: he's restricted. The Warriors want him back. And they're hoping to get something done sooner rather than later. Why the rush? Because Cuminga's next deal is going to define how the Warriors operate this summer. If he re-signs, we're probably talking somewhere in the $20 to $30 million range annually. That tightens things up significantly when you're already dancing around those salary cap aprons. But if for some reason he doesn't come back, or they work out a sign and trade, suddenly there's a lot more financial flexibility to work with. And Dunleavy acknowledged that restricted free agency can drag out. Sometimes you want to get something locked in early, but these things take time. Still, he emphasized confidence in Cuminga's development and who he is as a player, and what he means to this team. After 4 seasons, they know his strengths. Offensively, he's had stretches where he looks like a future star. Defensively, it's been inconsistent. The injury bug didn't help this past year either, but you've invested in him. You've seen the flashes. You know what he can bring. Now the organization has to decide how much they're willing to commit, and how quickly. The urgency also ties into roster clarity. Dunleavy said it outright: the sooner you figure out Cuminga's future, the better you can plan everything else. What pieces to add, who to target in free agency, how to use your exceptions, where to spend minimums. There's a domino effect, and Cuminga's deal is the first one that needs to fall. Now, if he does re-sign, we're looking at a situation where the Warriors are locked into for high-salary players: Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, and now Cuminga. You do that, and it's extremely difficult to make any other big moves. Add those contracts up and you're pushing close to 90% of the salary cap on just those 4 guys. That's the second apron killer right there. And with the new collective bargaining rules, you go over that second apron, you lose a ton of flexibility. No mid-level exceptions, no sign-and trades, not even the ability to take back more salary in a trade than you send out. It's brutal. So again, it all comes back to Cuminga. If he stays, that's your core. He has to be your 4th guy. He's got to step into that next role. But if he doesn't, if a team like Brooklyn throws a huge offer sheet his way and he wants out, then you've got options. You could look at doing a sign and trade, maybe pick up 2 or 3 rotation pieces, fill out your depth, stay under that dreaded apron. Either way, that decision has to come soon, because the market waits for no one. Now let's talk about what this team is looking for heading into free agency and the draft. Dunleavy made it very clear: defense is still the priority. The Warriors got torched in the playoffs despite having the best defensive rating in the league. Over the final stretch of the regular season, that just didn't carry over. Julius Randle had his way. Fred VanVleet cooked. Anthony Edwards basically had a clinic in the second half of every game. And yeah, some of that's on the personnel, some on the coaching, and a lot of it is just matchup based. But the bottom line is, the defense folded when it mattered most. So the front office knows that. They know they need dogs on that end. They're looking for defensive-minded wings, tough perimeter defenders, maybe even a true rim protector. Because right now, who's your lockdown guy? Gary Payton, he's a free agent. And Drew Wiggins, gone. Klay Thompson used to be that guy, but not anymore. You've got some okay defenders. Draymond is still elite when locked in. Looney's smart but limited. And TJD is promising, but none of them are stopping an elite scorer one-on-one. So you look around the league: Oklahoma City has Lou Dort. Chicago has Caruso. Minnesota has Jaden McDaniels. Houston's got Amen Thompson. The Warriors don't really have that anymore, and they need it. Spacing and shooting also came up. Dunleavy mentioned how important it is to have guys who can space the floor, especially in the modern game. Think about it. Steph and Jimmy need room to operate. If teams can sag off your other players because they don't respect the jumper, it kills your offensive flow. Buddy Hield was brought in for that reason, but he struggled in the playoffs. Cuminga's 3-point shot is still developing. Moses Moody had moments but also dealt with injuries. And you traded Lindy Waters, who was supposed to be a shooter. So you've got to find some snipers. That's where this draft and free agency class come into play. Expect them to target guys who can knock down open shots and play solid defense, your classic 3-and-D types. But here's the catch, adding talent isn't easy when you're handcuffed financially. Dunleavy was honest about that. He said it straight, the second apron limits what they can do more than anything else. You can look at players you like, you can explore trades. But when your top 3 guys are eating up 70% of your salary cap, there's just not much room to operate, unless one of them takes a pay cut, which, let's be real, isn't happening. Steph Curry isn't leaving money on the table. Jimmy Butler just got here. Draymond's deal is locked in. So you're stuck. And the only real way out of that bind is to let Cuminga walk and use that money differently. That's why this decision looms so large. Bring him back, and you've got your 4. Let him go, and maybe you can fill out the roster with more balanced depth. Now, turning to the draft, Golden State only has 1 pick. Number 41 in the second round. Their first rounder went to Miami in the Jimmy Butler trade. Dunleavy said they're open to moving up or down within the second round. Maybe even trading into the back end of the first, if the right deal pops up, but don't expect anything crazy. Realistically, they're probably staying put or making a minor move. And what kind of player are they looking for? You guessed it, 3-and-D wings or a traditional center who can protect the rim and run the floor. That's where their focus is. They've been bringing in a ton of prospects for workouts, scouting like crazy, trying to find a gem. Because when you don't have cap space, you've got to hit on your draft picks. That's your margin for error. You've got to find cheap, productive players who can contribute right away. And look, they're not just thinking about next season. They're thinking long-term. They know that once Steph starts to decline, and let's be honest, that day is coming, you need to have the next wave ready. Cuminga, Moody, TJD, whoever you draft now, they need to be more than just role players. They've got to be foundation pieces. That's the only way to keep this thing going. And speaking of the future, there's another layer to all of this coaching. Steve Kerr is still at the helm, but the Warriors know he's not a defense-first guy by nature. That's never been his calling card, so they're bringing in voices to help balance that out. There's been talk around the organization about leaning more on assistant coaches who specialize in defense, guys who can bring a harder edge, a different voice in the locker room. Because as good as Kerr is with schemes and managing egos, that playoff collapse defensively showed a real need for a shift in approach. That's where someone like Jerry Stackhouse enters the conversation. Not confirmed yet, but the idea is they're add someone who can reinforce accountability on that end. There's also the question of rim protection. Right now, you've got Trace Jackson-Davis and Kevin Looney as your main bigs. Looney's been a warrior, pun intended, but his body's taken a toll. He's aging. TJD is young, has promise, but he's not quite there yet as a true anchor. Draymond Green can still defend the paint, but you don't want him banging with 7-footers every night, so the Warriors are scanning the market. Names like Brook Lopez, Al Horford, Clint Capela, even Ben Simmons have been floated, not because Simmons is a traditional center, but because he can defend multiple positions when healthy. But again, the problem is money. These guys don't come cheap. You're not getting a Brook Lopez for $5 million. And unless you shed some salary or pull off a creative sign-and trade, your options are limited. Which brings us back to strategy. Dunleavy said the team will be opportunistic. They know they're not in a position to make splashy moves, but they'll stay aggressive. That means being ready if a deal pops up. Maybe taking advantage of a team trying to offload salary, or being part of a bigger trade as a third team. It's about flexibility, even when you don't have much. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive dubs. Updates, let's keep going. Whispers are swirling around the Golden State Warriors camp as rumors emerge involving head coach Steve Kerr and a key player reportedly no longer in his plans. The basketball world has been caught off guard by recent statements attributed to Kerr, suggesting a potential split within the team's ranks. According to insiders, Kerr is said to have bluntly expressed that this particular player will not play with me anymore, sparking a frenzy of speculation among fans and analysts alike. While the Warriors have enjoyed immense success under Kerr's leadership, winning multiple NBA championships and establishing themselves as a basketball dynasty, tensions behind the scenes have reportedly started to bubble up. The cryptic nature of Kerr's alleged remark has left many wondering who the player in question might be, and what circumstances led to such a stark declaration. Is it a clash of personalities, a strategic decision, or perhaps an issue related to performance and team dynamics? The truth remains shrouded in mystery, but the impact on the Warriors' locker room chemistry could be significant. In a sport where cohesion and trust are paramount, any sign of discord can send ripples through a team's season. Kerr has always been praised for his calm and measured approach, fostering an environment where stars like Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green could thrive together. However, this rumored fallout may indicate that even the most seasoned coaches face challenges managing egos and expectations in a high-pressure environment. Speculators suggest that the player in question might be someone whose role has diminished, or whose relationship with Kerr has soured over time. The Warriors' management has remained tight-lipped about the situation, neither confirming nor denying the rumors. Meanwhile, fans have taken to social media, debating the possibilities and trying to connect the dots with recent games and player performances. Some argue that such a statement could hint at a potential trade or a shift in the team's strategy for the upcoming season. Others believe it might simply be a temporary rift, something that could be patched up behind closed doors with the right dialogue and leadership. Whatever the reality, this emerging story has injected a fresh layer of intrigue into the Warriors' offseason. Will the team move forward with a reshaped roster, or is this just a momentary stumble in what has been a remarkably stable coaching player relationship? As the basketball world watches closely, the unfolding drama around Steve Kerr and his mysterious player could have far-reaching implications for the franchise's future and their quest for continued dominance in the NBA. Stay tuned, as this developing saga promises to keep fans on edge in the coming weeks. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.